in terms of project financing and meeting that bankability criteria, where do you see the key issues? Where do you see the bottlenecks? What is for the sponsors, for the investors to pay special attention on?
So one of them that feels binary, that maybe is a little bit less binary, is on rights of way. So a lot of governments allow eminent domain, particularly for the transmission line, and you know that for sure you're going to get it, and the transmission line is going to be built. We can go along with that, but as soon as you have a farmer and his wife crying in front of the bulldozer because they're taking your land, well, yeah.
You are not passing social impact assessment.
All of a sudden, we may have the legal right, we may have the ability, there's questions whether or not, but you just don't want those pictures, and all of a sudden your lender might get a little bit nervous with the crying farmer, you know. So rights of way tend to slow things down as we want to be
To slow things down.
I would say they have the ability to slow things down.
But when you put them into the context of the standards you need to adhere on from the social impact assessment perspective,
We're not
because
applying additional
they are introduced
standards
in
or
the way they are introduced in order to speed up the projects in Serbia. You see, that's
Exactly.
a bit...
But you still don't want the pictures, you know.
yeah, of course.
Land rights are definitely an issue too. In some countries more than others. We have a situation where, you know, one of the landowners was not, fortunately he didn't die, unfortunately he was in a coma, and you couldn't get the land rights and things like that. There's always questions.
You didn't have the right notary.
Yes. Governing law and arbitration.
Just kidding, of course.
Governing law and arbitration are obviously big ones, and it's not necessarily specific to this region, I would say, because I have some history, and in terms of a bankable PPA, well, Spain had bankable PPAs for renewable energy, so did Italy, so did Greece, so did Bulgaria, and how did that turn out? Well, not so great for a lot of the investors.
Well, yeah, but because they did not contain adequate level of protection.
Exactly.
It's a learning process, learning curve.
Exactly.
So when the PPAs came to Serbia, we had like the most protective one.
Yes.
Because we were late.
So change of law is obviously is a big issue for us. And even if there are adequate change of law protections, it doesn't mean that we're always comfortable. So one of the things we have been looking at is political risk insurance on some of our investments. Particularly, there's rhetoric around price caps and things like that. And so your project rights may give you the ability to sell at whatever price you want, but as soon as they start to impose new taxes, then guess what? We might care.